Annie, how are you doing?
Good, Krista. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for accommodating my kids' bedtime schedule.
Yeah, no problem. It
And
works.
you have a fun nightly thing that you do.
I do. Yeah. I mean, it kind of depends. Like right now, it's easier to do it because kids aren't in school. So I have all teenagers. So
Oh,
usually evenings are like full of teenager things. But when they're not, then my husband and I like to go hot tub and read together. So
that is the dream. The dream for me in 10, 15 years.
it'll come. Yep.
Okay, wait, so all your kids are teenagers?
Well, actually, technically, my oldest just turned 21 yesterday, which sounds weird and makes me sound so much older than I am. So,
21.
yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I have a 21-year-old, 19, 15, and 14. So
Wow, those are good ages.
they're
So
good
kind of
ages.
close.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
mine
And you have
are.
three under three, right? Three
Yes,
and
not anymore. I have a
okay.
3-year-old now. So she turned
Okay.
3 in November, and then a 1-year-old, and then a 3-month-old.
Fun.
So it's really fun. I really like it actually.
Good. Good.
And I know it's a busy age, but I enjoy it. I know it'll be fun to get a little more of my time back and not be so in demand, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Especially when
Definitely.
you get to have conversations with people like you in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
To bring a
When I was
little,
there, my youngest two are only 13 months apart. So
oh wow.
that was and so then I had, my oldest was 7 at that point in time, but I had 4 kids, 7 and
Mhm.
under. And so it was busy. It
Yeah.
was fun. It was fulfilling, but
What's
yeah.
been fun for me actually is seeing my oldest, I mean, she's only 3, but start to help a little bit with my baby.
Yeah.
We were getting ready to go to the park and she was in her car seat and crying, and my oldest started rocking her, and she was like, I'm helping. I'm like, you are helping. Oh my gosh. She's 3 and she's already learning how to do that for her siblings. So it's fun.
Yeah, that is fun. It's
It's
fun
fun.
when you see them caring for each other for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Well, tell us, Annie. Tell me at least. I'm curious. So, you have a business. It
I
is a
do.
coaching business, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, tell me about it and tell me what you enjoy doing in your business.
So initially my business name is Rethinking Fitness with Annie. So originally my like secret dream that I'd had for a really long time was to be a personal trainer. And so initially that was my thought process, was I was going to get some nutrition certifications and my personal training certification so that I could help people with nutrition and fitness. And through that process, I realized how much of it had to do with our mindset and changing the way that we think about things.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of why the rethinking got put in there with the fitness. But as I started training people and coaching people, what I really realized is that what I love is helping people achieve meaningful goals. And so it's evolved and it's more personal development coaching now. I still have a background in nutrition and fitness, and I feel like that's kind of my zone of genius. But one of my favorite clients right now, I'm helping him write a book. So it just kind of depends on the person and what they're up to. So,
That's so cool. I actually thought of you today because I went on a walk with my kids this afternoon, and I love going on walks in general. And I had this shift, mindset shift where I was for so long I've felt like I haven't been a very good a very good person who exercises a lot, if that makes sense. But I'm constantly going on walks with my kids. And today I put it together. I was like, why do I keep saying I'm not a good person who exercises when literally I love going on walks with my kids, and that's a form of exercise, right?
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
I think this is where I think the shift came in, is I was I think because I thought I was having fun doing it,
Mm,
that it didn't count. Because really, when I exercise, I usually am doing things I enjoy doing. I like to play pickleball, I like to play tennis. But I'm well, that doesn't really count because that's I'm having fun. But I'm why am I saying that to myself? It is fun, but it's also exercise. So
yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought of you. I was like, she probably helps people think that things like that.
Yeah, change the way that you think about it, because if you think about it like, oh, I'm going to go play pickleball and that's my workout for the day, whatever, and you let that count as your workout for the day, then you can like check it off your list. Yes, I worked out today, instead of thinking like, oh, I got to like hype myself up to do a bajillion burpees, or whatever it
Yeah.
is that like you hate doing it while you're doing it, and you're like, why am I doing this?
I know it's so interesting. Like, why do we feel like we have to hate things in order for them to like count? You know? I
Yeah,
think that's interesting. I've even felt that in like my business recently. It's like, well, this can't be work because I'm enjoying it. But it is. It's like it's helping my business and I enjoy doing it. So like it's good. It's good to have that shift of like
yeah,
you
yep,
can enjoy things and they can count as a productive, good thing.
yeah, yeah. And what I love about like that little shift for you is like you're also showing your kids, we go and we walk together, and it's a good active thing that you're doing with your kids, and you're showing them this is a way we can be active and it can be enjoyable. And so maybe that generation will have a different view of what
Yeah.
exercise looks like, because you're modeling that for them. So I think that's super awesome.
Well, that makes me like emotional because I'm like, oh, I'm like teaching my kids good things.
Yes, absolutely.
It's good to hear for sure. Yeah. And honestly, today that walk was like, I want to say mostly for me because I feel like my kids weren't feeling very good and we were kind of vegging out. And I was just like, I need to go on a walk. So I like got us all together and did it. And I was like, this works. Like I can do the things I want to do and like do them with my kids. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
good for you. That's awesome.
But yes, I definitely was thinking of you. And then I was like, oh, and I get to talk to her tonight. I could tell her tonight.
And I finished my vision board today, which made me think about you. So,
Oh, yeah, it's so cute. I know I've been really obsessed with my vision board too.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
thought, I mean, so that's just all kind of part of your creative process, right? Which is what you do. It's all like pretty creative work.
Yeah, I know. I actually like so the what you're talking about is the like vision board event that I kind of did on Voxer, which actually was inspired by your goals event. So we kind of both did these little Voxer events this last little bit, and they were both
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, I have had people like still interested in it, so I think I'm gonna keep doing it. But yeah, I do think that's part of my that's why we were just talking about this before, where you were like, you're starting to do a little bit of coaching. And I think I am. Like that was to me like a little bit of coaching, right? That event you were in there with me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And people enjoyed it and I'm having fun with it. So I do think I'm gonna like lean into that a little bit more of just like doing this sort of creative work with people.
Yeah. I mean, I think even in the journal that you helped me design, there was a little bit of coaching back and forth with that as well. Like you were kind of helping me think through it a little bit, and, just that process. And I can definitely see that if that's something that you're integrating into it too, how it all works together. It's awesome.
Yeah. I like that. I think so lately I've had this realization that I when I get into something and it's feeling good, sometimes I like pull back and
Mm,
like don't do it. I'm like, no, that's not me. And I feel like that just happened with coaching. I was like, no, I don't really feel like I'm a coach. But then I just did this Voxer thing and I really liked it. And I'm like, oh, okay, actually I'm back in it. Like is that a thing where like you get into something and then stop yourself? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, to me, it sounds like a form of self-sabotage, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and so I like, do you mind if I just ask you some questions about it? Is that okay?
Yes, that would
Okay.
be great. I would love that actually.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So when you talk about that, you're saying, okay, hey, this was kind of coaching. Maybe I'm a coach.
Yeah.
What's the thought when you like have that pullback?
Um, I think that I guess I don't know if this had to do with the time I like stopped then. Yeah, I guess the main thing is that I want to feel I love when people can like feel understood. Like so before I started my business, I was a teacher and I felt like a skill that I had as a teacher and that I've carried through in my business and that I just feel like I kind of have in general is teaching. And I feel like the main skill with teaching is that I can tell like kind of where people are at, like what level they're at, and like teach to their level. And so maybe I just worry with coaching that like people, I don't want to like exclude people if they like don't understand what coaching is or like are worried like they don't want to like hire a coach. I don't want them to feel like weirded out by working with a coach. Does that make sense?
So, do people feel weirded out by working with teachers? If like
Mm.
they go to college, they need a professor. That's a different teacher than like an elementary teacher, right?
Yeah.
But people know what they're getting themselves into when they go to school. Whatever. Parents know this is elementary school. This is the teacher. The kids learn from this teacher that was trained to teach to a certain audience, right? And like you said, one of your skills is you're really good at being able to teach at certain levels. So I think that that's perfect for coaching because most likely when people come to you, you're going to be able to understand very intuitively how you need to coach them because you know how to teach at different levels. I think that's an amazing skill to have for it.
That's good to know. Yeah. I really resonate with being a teacher. And so I guess one thing I'm like maybe struggling with is like, what is the difference between a teacher and a coach? Or is there a difference? What do you think?
Well, first, I want to know what you think. What's the difference between a teacher and a coach?
That's a good question. Maybe, maybe, I guess teacher, usually I think of like a class, right? Because that's what I did. I was a high school math teacher, I had classes. But coaching you can do to groups, right?
Absolutely.
So they seem pretty similar,
Yeah.
actually, in my head.
Yeah.
What do you think?
For me, I feel like when you coach, oftentimes there is an element of teaching, but there's
Mm.
also a time where you sit back, right? Where like with teaching, you
Oh,
are trying to help someone understand a concept and maybe like as a high school math teacher, you're going around the room, you're observing how people are integrating what you're teaching them, which is
um,
maybe similar with coaching, but a lot of with coaching, it's like I'm going to teach you a concept and now I'm going to sit back and I'm going to like hold up a mirror for you so that you can see how well am I understanding this concept.
mm,
That's I feel like that's the coach's main job is to help you see in you what you already know, what your potential already is. So
mm.
there's teaching. I'm gonna maybe teach you this concept. Maybe we're gonna talk about self sabotage or whatever it is, and then now I'm gonna help you see where you're self sabotaging, help you see in yourself where those things are happening.
Okay. So maybe teaching is a little more like, I don't want to say like talking at someone, but it's like as a math teacher, it was like, this is the curriculum. I have to
Yes.
teach them this. Whereas coaching is maybe a little bit more like you can teach things, but it's a lot more listening. And then also, like you said, the like self-reflecting. I like that. Like a
Yeah.
mirror.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
Like a mirror outside of yourself type of thing.
yeah. And I feel like there's different jobs, I guess, that you kind of use as a coach, right? Sometimes you're an accountability person for someone. They come to you and say, yes, I did these things or no, I didn't, right? And checking boxes, especially with health and fitness, that comes into play a lot for me. But I also, with my client right now who's writing a book, he's got
Mm,
goals he's working towards. And so it's like, did I write how many pages I thought I was going to write or not? Right. So there's an accountability aspect of coaching that's there. And then there's like kind of the cheerleading aspect, right? Where it's like
mhm.
helping you see, like, notice your wins, you're doing a good job. There's teaching, there's coaching, and there's mentoring. I feel like those are all kind of different elements that you take on through the role of coaching at different times, depending on your client, depending on where they're going and what they need from you.
Wow. I've never really like had it explained like that to me. My experience with coaching has just been, I felt like I should hire one, so I hired one. And then, you know, and then I went to where we met was at a workshop with a really cool coach, Amber Smith. And so I've just kind of been in this like coaching world. And you explained that really well. Like, I really like that. Maybe I actually did read the book Prosperous Coach
Mm-hmm.
by Rich Litvin. Have you read that before?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I actually, a lot of that book resonated with me. So maybe I'm a coach.
yeah, yeah. I think like there's probably an answer in that for you.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? That's what I'm saying is like, I feel like I go through these things of like, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. And then I'm like, actually, wait. So, like a loop, there's a little, and I'm learned, and it's actually good for me to recognize that like I do have this little cycle of like something's going really well. And hopefully it's not self-sabotage. Sorry. Hopefully it's not self-sabotage. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Do you think it is?
Well, I mean, it sounds to me like a huge thing is you're aware of it. So
Yes.
that's like 80-90% of the work is the awareness, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't change it if you're not
Yeah.
aware of it. But once you're aware of it, then you can see it. So even if you didn't change it this time around, you're like, "Ooh, I just did it again." Then you're aware of it. And so now you can kind of be watching for it. So
Mhm.
maybe it's a form of self-sabotage. Have you read The Big Leap by
I
Gay
have.
Hendricks?
I love that
So
book.
maybe it's an upper limit.
Yeah, that's very true. That could be it too.
Yeah.
I guess the reason it's good. It's good that I'm aware of this because I want to not sabotage anymore.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
like lean into the things that I like and feel good and like called to do. And but I also feel like I don't just feel like a coach. Like I do a lot of things. Like I like to content create, I like to read, I like to journal. I have all these things, so I'm like that's not like my only identity is like I'm a coach. It's like I actually have a lot of like things that people can come to me for and relate to me on, and I'd love to help them with those things.
Yeah.
If so, that's kind of fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think probably goes back to, like you said, being like that good teacher skill, right? And if you're constantly learning and growing yourself, you're journaling, you're doing all these different reading, like those are skills that are helping you as a coach, as a teacher, so that you can mentor and help other people. So I think that's like, I feel like it all works together really, really well for you. So
Well, thank you. And like it reminds me of you too, how you have like this personal trainer side of it too, and like how you're using that to help you be a better coach or, be the specific type of coach that you are.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
really
it's
good.
evolved a lot, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely like fitness was the pillar for sure for a long time. So, and still in the name. So it's there.
Yeah. Probably just how like journaling will always be there for me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm really just like not gonna let it go. I love it too much.
Yeah. When you're thinking about coaching, how do you feel like you're going to integrate that with the journal stuff? Are you going to be just like a creative coach? Is that kind of what you're thinking of, like helping people with creative, or have you kind of thought about that? Or is that what's making you feel a little bit stuck with the coaching, is that you're worried about like niching down and leaving people out?
No, I actually have felt pretty good about like what I want to niche down into if we're gonna call it that, or like who I want to serve is kind of how
Yeah.
I think of it. And I think I want to serve like moms, stay-at-home moms, kind of in my situation of like, because really what it's come down to for me is I really like being a stay-at-home mom. But I also came from this, like I was working 40 hours a week. So I have this like mentality of like, I do want to like work and like provide value to my family, which even if I didn't work, I know that there's like value in just being a stay-at-home mom. But that's what I want to do is just help other stay-at-home moms like me feel that they are valuable and also like increase their value. Because that's really what I've done this past year in learning how to make these journals, in learning content creation, in learning how to sell things. I've learned lots of skills that have increased my value and have made me money. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I would love to help other people do that too. And I don't think it has to be in the way that I have done it.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of like ideas on how to do it, and it's come pretty easily to me. I do find myself lately coming up with so many ways I could make money that I'm like, this would be fun to like share with other people too, that like maybe want to increase their family's financial situation and are stuck with like that type of thing. So
Yeah, I love
that's
it.
what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. And I love like there's a great way like, your first little teaching workshop or whatever. You're like 10 ways to make money or whatever it is. And
Ooh, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
this is good because I do feel like with my like vision board event that I did, I was just like, yes, like I want to teach about this. So yeah, that was actually so helpful. I think I will start thinking of a way to do that, like either a workshop or something of like ways to make money as a
yeah.
stay-at-home mom. Well, thank you. That was
I
really
mean, it was your
helpful.
idea. I was just like
Putting
expanding it a
put
little
the
bit.
mirror in front of me.
Yeah.
Well, stay
Awesome.
tuned for that, guys. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a fun
Coming
idea.
up.
That's coming soon. But I also, and I think you were asking about like how do I see coaching integrate into my business? That
Mhm.
definitely sounds fun. But I do still really enjoy making journals. And just like you said, like I have always felt like there is an element of coaching in making the journals because I do have to like kind of sit with a lot of the decisions they're making about the journal and being like, why is that important? Why do you want that? So like that too, I think is has a coaching aspect to it as well, which I didn't even realize when like with the first, few custom journals I made. I started realizing, oh, this is a lot more than just like I'm making a planner. It's like I'm helping you with your life. Like I'm helping you
Yes.
organize, really is what it is.
Yeah.
Organize your life. And so yeah, that's an element of coaching, I would think.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Just, you had mentioned the Prosperous Coach and Rich Litvin. So if you ever listen to his podcast, his intro, he says something to the extent, I'm going to butcher it, but something to the extent of like, it didn't used to be called coaching. It used to be called leadership. And
Oh,
so he talks about like, and I think that that's so true, right? Like now we have this word that we're boxing everything into coaching, but really it's just different forms of being a leader.
wow. I have not listened to his podcast yet. I should, but that is interesting.
Yeah.
Leadership and that I'm a leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
That feels fun. That feels good. I
Yeah.
like that
And
word
like
too.
you said, help like leading people to have, a better organized life, leading them to create more value in their own personal lives and in their families. Like that's a beautiful way to help people. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling excited about it. I was texting my coach about it today. I was like, I feel a shift.
That's
It's
awesome.
coming. And it's fun. It's fun to me to feel it, but also like, I mean, before I talked to you, I was like, I don't really know how or what it's going to look like, but like to not even know how it's going to play out. But yeah, feeling like it's coming. So that feels good. Feels
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. That's cool.
I guess the other thing that I have been trying to lean into too with just like my business and let's say I, try and start doing more coaching is one-on-one coaching is kind of tricky for me right now because I really do enjoy spending a lot of time with my kids. And so getting on a one-on-one call with someone has felt harder, but that's why I've been trying to get creative with like Boxer. Like I can do that. Like, so I'm
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah.
try and come up with ways that like aren't just like this is what coaching has to look like. It's like it can look
Yes.
like a lot of different things. So
Yeah. Well, and I think, if you are specifically targeting stay-at-home moms like yourself, then you're like, hey, 8:30 after I get kids in bed is a great time.
oh
And
yeah,
maybe other moms feel like that too. So
that's genius. Why didn't I think of that? It's probably because this is so new. You're like
yeah,
bringing this out of me. I'm like, this is all just like in my head so new. So yeah, I'm shifting a lot of things, a lot of ways of thinking about how I can serve people. So
yeah, I love it.
fun. Yeah. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about the journal we made together
Yeah, let's talk about the journal.
because that was really, really fun for me to experience how good you are at coaching and for other people to hear it too, hopefully. Um, but yeah, we made a journal together. That was so fun.
It was really fun. Yeah. So a really big thing about it is that I've been doing this process the way that I do it for since early 2022. So almost
Mhm.
3 years that I've kind of had my process of doing things, and it's evolved over time. But as I've talked to clients about it a couple different times and recommended it to them, and the main reason, we can talk about this a little bit more maybe later, it doesn't really matter, but one of the main reasons that I started journaling in the first place is because as a mom, I was having the hardest time shutting my brain off at night. And
Mm.
especially with teenagers and thinking of like all the things that are coming up tomorrow and, whatever. I would lay down, and I'm a really light sleeper anyway. Every little noise wakes me up, but I would lay there and I would be so tired, but I could not shut off my brain and go to sleep because I had all the list of to-dos and all the things that I felt like I failed at that day and all the things that whatever, like just all the things in my head. And so I was actually listening to a podcast, and Marshall Goldsmith was the person that I was listening to, and he started talking about his process to help empty out his brain at night. And he does a daily debrief, and I was like, I need to do this. And it looks completely different than the way that he does his. He has like this whole visualization process. And I knew that it wasn't going to work for me. And so I was like, what can I do consistently? Because that's the big thing for me, is like, what's the thing I can do consistently? I could just, what do I need to get out from my head tomorrow? So the first part of it was like writing down what I need to do tomorrow, my intentions for tomorrow. And one of the things that I got from him is he said, never have that be more than 10 things, like really more than five, because if
Mhm.
everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. You can't prioritize everything. So make it a small list, and you can always add to it or, whatever. And it doesn't mean that's the only things you're going to do, but like if my head hits the pillow tomorrow night, what are the things that I want to have accomplished? And so that was a really good like North Star for me. But I've sat down and tried to make a physical journal that I could give to clients multiple times and played around in Canva for hours and hours and hours and never liked the way that it looked. And we had one conversation, and it seemed like it was, I don't know how long it took you, but so quickly you responded. And I was like, this is it. Like this, I should have hired you years ago.
Oh, that is so fun to hear. Yeah, it didn't take me very long. I'm not gonna say. That's so
This is
cool.
why you hire people to do the things in their zone of genius, because I messed around with it and I just never could get it to where I was like, it's not like it's that complex, but I just couldn't get it to look how I wanted it to look. And you were like, what do you think of this? I'm like, perfect, let's go.
That's so cool. It also, I mean, as you're saying that though, I know it didn't take me a long time to like whip it up, but I'm thinking of like the years I've sat
Yes.
drawing things out, like, right? Like that's why it came so fast to me because
Yes, it's your
I've
zone of genius.
been,
You've spent so much
yeah.
time developing the
Mhm.
skill. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, it's cool for me to like realize that. And it's fun to see the thing that I love doing help me help other people. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
And to me, for so long, I had started my bullet journaling like YouTube account, and actually it was originally a bullet journaling account, my Instagram right now, a long time ago. And it's just cool to see it working to, I guess, make me money, but really just to serve other people, right? Because I'm like, this is just cool that like this started as just like a creative thing, and it was a productivity thing for me as well. Like it cleared my mind in different ways than you, but yeah, it cleared my mind as well. And now seeing it help other people is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome for sure. Especially when you're like, it's not something that's like a super hard skill to learn to journal, right? In different ways and in whatever ways it needs to work for you. But like it really isn't that complex of a thing to sit down and write something out, but it's amazing what it does for productivity, for creativity, just for all of it.
Totally.
Definitely, I've definitely seen a huge shift in myself from being able to do it. So yeah, I'm excited to bust the real thing out and use it, because I've been using notebooks that are really really messy for a long
And
time.
you've been
So
drawing it yourself, huh?
yes, drawing in my little boxes and
Mm.
yeah,
That's how it starts, though. You
yeah,
gotta start. I mean, I think the I think the clients like you though that have been working for years and years towards, because you have too. You've been developing this, like you said, since 2022. So yeah, really it's just the combination of both of our like things, both of our ideas
Yeah, coming
together to
together.
make this journal. That's the fun I feel like in making a custom planner with someone who like has done this for a while too. It's like we both come together and we're like, hey, let's talk journaling, let's talk
Yeah.
organizing our mind, let's talk brain dump. Because that was another thing. That's something that I do a lot in my bullet journal is I call it a brain dump, kind of like a debrief, right?
Yeah.
So tell us, so we've talked about a little bit like the what I made for you, but like there's like a couple different parts in your journal, right? Like what do you do every night? Like walk us through it, I guess.
So I do it in kind of a weird order, but
Ooh,
this is my nightly process. Is I
okay.
go, okay, what are my intentions for tomorrow? And I write those down and I have my little check boxes. And the reason that I have check boxes, I don't know, you may or may not know this, but because we literally get a hit of dopamine when we check something off a list. It's a small hit of dopamine, but it is that reward signal in our brain, which kind of reminds us, I liked this, I want to go back and do it. So it's kind of like a way for you to train your brain to do something. So if you're someone who likes to write lists and check things off, that is why you like to do it, because you get a hit of dopamine when you do it. And
I
so,
didn't realize that. That's
yes.
exciting. I do it all the time, but yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep, that's why. That's why you like doing it, because you get a hit of dopamine. So I have my little, like, these are my intentions for tomorrow, and I have little check boxes by them so that I can, like, at the end of the day, I can go through and I can check, did I do it? Yes or no. And so I write my intentions, and then I write just a short little daily debrief, like what happened today. And it's shifted a little bit because it used to just kind of be like I would do like what went well today and what do I want to do better tomorrow. But I've changed that a little bit. So now I'm saying like a little debrief if I need to, dump a little bit more than just what was a win today. But I like to have 3 wins for today and 3 wins for tomorrow. And the 3 wins for tomorrow are like, I'm anticipating something good that happens tomorrow. And it doesn't matter if tomorrow those things actually were my wins or not, but it's just that I'm like, putting it out there that I'm expecting something good to happen tomorrow. So that's kind of been a newer, I started that in just July of this year, adding the wins. So that's been really, really fun. And then, so I go through and I write my intentions, my wins for today, my wins for tomorrow. And then I go through and I check off yesterday's, like, I guess technically today's, but like, did I do the things I said I was going to do today? Yes or no? And the thing that has helped me the most is really trying to remove any judgment.
Mm.
So if I didn't do the things that I said I was going to do, there's no check mark in that box. But then sometimes in my little debrief, I write like, why? Why did I not get to that thing?
Oh, that's nice.
And so, like, maybe it's because, yeah, it just really wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
you know, or maybe it's because, oh, something else came up today and I want to remember this something else that came up today that was far more important because like I said before, if everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. We can't prioritize everything. So sometimes things are going to fall. And the other big thing for me was that the journal couldn't be like, I have to do it every night, no matter what, or else I knew I wouldn't do it. I don't do well with like all or nothing type mindset with things.
Mm.
So it was just kind of like, I'm going to do it. And if I did it, great. And if not, I'm going to get back to it as quickly as I can because I do know it has really improved my sleep.
Mm. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I also think I wanted to bring up when we were making that, I didn't put the tomorrow's intentions on it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, you were like, I want to put tomorrow's intentions. And I was like, why? I was like, the next
The
day
win
already
for tomorrow,
has.
you're like, it's already on there.
And then, or no, sorry. I think it was tomorrow's wins.
Yeah. The
I was
wins.
like, why? You have wins for the next day on the next one. And then you explained that to me, and I was like, you're just like training your brain to be like, and tomorrow I'm gonna see these cool things happen, right?
Yep.
I thought that was
Yep.
so cool because
Yeah.
I was
Something
like,
can
that
happen tomorrow.
it didn't make sense to me at first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably the way I explained it, I'm like, today's wins, tomorrow's wins. And so you're like, yeah, tomorrow's wins are on there tomorrow.
I was like, you go to the next day and put your wins for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool that on the day you're thinking ahead to your next day and you're like, and what am I gonna? Yeah, I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I can't take credit for that idea. Like that specifically of thinking of tomorrow's wins, I got from the book, The Gap and the Gain.
oh, I've never read that book.
It's so good. If you haven't read it, read it. It is
The Gap and the Gain
The
sounds
Gap and
amazing.
yeah, it's a good book. I read it 3 times in a month because it was like that profound to me that I was like, I need to like really understand this concept. So
To me, I'm wondering just by the title, does it have anything in there to do with collapsing time or no?
not really. It really is about like noticing your progress, seeing how far you've come, and like giving yourself credit for what you've done and like really living in like what's good now.
Mm, that's cool.
Yeah, so
That
it's
sounds
Dan
amazing.
Sullivan and Ben Hardy. Really, really good book. Definitely recommend it.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably really useful too for like goals and seeing your progress, which I know when I was in your goals group, you helped me see that. I was like, yeah, some of my goals I didn't hit, and then I was like, oh wait, I actually did make a lot of progress towards them. That helped me a lot actually, by the way. So
Yeah, 50%. I mean, that is huge. Like, really, I hope you really recognized and let yourself like celebrate that win
yeah.
because lots of people, I mean, like, just personally, if I'm being perfectly honest, I was like, oh, I hit 17% of my revenue goal for the year. So, like, 50% is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just silly of me to like not think about that goal because I was thinking I didn't do it at all. And then it was good to see like, oh wait, I did do some of it. It just kind of helped me move past that. Not that it was stopping me, but it's good. I love I mean just like I guess coaching in general and the mirror thing is it's like I'm really just learning so much about myself and just improving myself and like almost like cleaning out all the thoughts, all the things that have been stopping me or, yeah, limiting me from progressing. So,
Yeah. It's
really
definitely a
good.
super powerful tool. I think one of the things that I love the most about it is that I have realized through coaching clients and definitely from being coached myself how much it really is about just you being who you truly are.
Hmm.
All those skills and qualities are already in you, but we have these limiting beliefs that hold us back, these, whatever doubts. And so when we can, like you said, clean it all up and reveal who we truly are, we're able to impact people's lives so much more because we're being who we're truly meant to be. And
Hmm.
as humans, we're all connected, and that's part of our job is to help support and love and lift each other up. So
Yeah, I love that. I love feeling like I'm being me, like I'm actually being me.
yeah.
So yeah. I have a question for you. It's related to what you said, but kind of random.
Okay, what's
Because
up?
you're going to start gifting this journal to clients, right? And you also want to sell it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yay! I'm so excited to sell this with you. And then I gave you like a launch workbook, right?
Yes. Yes.
And like, I mean, you saw and you've seen I love to do reels and stuff. And before this, we were chatting and you were like, I don't really like doing reels or I'm not very, are you good at, you don't have to make reels if you don't want to.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like I would like to be better at making reels. I just don't think about them very often.
Hmm.
I'm I'm a wordy person, so I
Yeah.
like to talk. So podcasting works well for me.
Mm.
Longer form content works well for me. I
Mm.
get a little bit like tripped up mentally when I think of like it has to be in this short, compact, for a
Oh.
reel. It has to be like punchy and like I don't know. The rules of reels sometimes kind of like get in my head and I've been trying to let that go and just like, okay, well what could it look like? What would I want it to look like if I were to do it? I just don't think about it. And like I was working with my coach the other day and she said something about, just, your B-roll that you're filming. And I was like, I don't do that. Like I'll snap a picture if I'm out walking my dogs or something like that. But like around my house, eating
Mhm.
food, doing laundry, I never think I should film this. I'm just doing the things that I'm doing. You know what I mean? So that's part of it is I need to spend a little bit more time thinking about it because I would like to be better about it and feel more comfortable doing it. I just haven't done it yet. So,
But do you feel like you have to do it? Because I don't think you have to do reels if you don't want to.
I don't think I have to do it. I do think that if I'm going to be on Instagram and I want to grow on Instagram, then it could be part of the way that I grow on Instagram because
Yeah.
that's one of the like I know I watch reels on Instagram. Like I like consuming it that way, right? I just don't really think about putting it out there like that. So that's part of it is just kind of shifting the way that I think about it a little.
Yeah. Well, one B-roll idea, if you're looking for one, is, and this is what I do all the time, record yourself writing in your journal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially because this is a journal that you're talking about. So, and
Yeah.
you write
That's
in
a
your
good idea.
journal.
Yeah.
So that's just like, yeah, just easy. I have been so trying to just keep it so easy with reels, with everything, because yeah, it's just it's the likelihood of it getting done if it's easy is just
Yeah.
way higher.
Absolutely.
And I actually am someone who likes like editing videos. I could make like more intense short form content, but I've decided that it's just like not worth it. So I've tried to keep it really simple, but I still am trying to like play with how to make it like you said, like people want to watch it or whatever, but
Yeah.
just try and keep it simple and exciting to me, like, oh, this sounds fun. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't. I also personally am working on trying to eliminate telling myself I should do this.
Hmm.
Because if I should do something, then I probably don't want to do it. And so why am I feeling like I have to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just in general.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do only the things that are easy and fun for me.
Yeah.
And I love
I think
podcasting too. So,
Yeah, I think leaning into that a little bit more has been helpful for me. For sure, my first year in business, the coaches that I was learning from were very um, it's in the fitness world, right? So it's like
mm,
very results data driven stuff. And so it was
yeah.
like, just you need a hook, you need blah 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 blah, like there are lots of rules, lots of this is the way, and it's been really hard for me to like shift away from that because
Yeah.
I didn't like that, and it was like I realized pretty quickly this is not for me to do things in this exact precise way. It feels robotic. It just didn't feel like me. But then I would notice, like, I love podcasts. I mean, I talk all the time. That's just what I do. So that's easy. But anyway, so just like figuring out ways that I can make it fun, make it easy instead of whatever, like the stick your nose to the grindstone kind of thing.
hmm And going back to what you said about like coaching is just like being yourself, just make it yourself too. I feel like that's been really nice for me too, to just be like, how can I make this not hard? And how can I make it just feel like me? Because then
Yeah.
it's going to feel like easier, I guess. And people, I think, resonate more when it is like coming from yourself or coming from me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been fun too for me.
Yeah, I agree, and that's been one of the reasons it's been hard is because I've had feedback from a few coach friends with like good intentions that have been like, so it was a good reel, but I didn't know who you were talking to, or it was a good reel, but blah 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 blah. And so that's been part of it is that I'm like, but every time I feel like, but this is just me. Then they're like, but you didn't have a hook, but you didn't blah blah blah. I mean, and that was a while ago. That was,
Mhm.
but you know what I mean. So anyway, just figuring out like how do I bring these elements of who I am into things but still use like the principles of marketing, the principles of coaching, because obviously all of those things are true, just like with fitness, right? There's like true principles with fitness. And one of them is like, you've got to move your body. But like you said, if you can move your body in a way that you love, you're going to keep doing it instead of
Mhm.
feeling like, I don't want to exercise because I hate exercise. Oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't. I love to play pickleball. I love to, go on walks with
Mhm.
my kids, whatever it is. But we tell ourselves it has to be hard. So,
Yeah. I'm trying to get over that.
yeah, me too.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
Make it easy. And it's funny because I feel like even with the awareness I have, I still feel like there's things where I'm like, oh, I'm still making this really hard, like, and without even meaning to. So I'm trying to find all the things. And that's why you get a coach, because then they tell you where
Yeah.
you're making it hard when you don't need to
Yes.
be making it hard. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Well, it's been so fun chatting.
Yeah, it's been great. Easy.
So easy. We're chatty people. Are your kids chatty?
Yes and no. My daughter is. My daughter's more chatty than me, if you can believe that. But
Really?
yes, my daughter is chatty. My boys, it kind of depends on the mood, especially right now. Like my 14-year-old, he's a 14-year-old boy, so
Yeah,
less words is just kind of his jam. But if you get him talking about lacrosse, then he'll be chatty.
really. I have little chatty kids. My toddlers, they just, when a new person comes to the park, hey friend, and start chatting with them.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
great.
so we are passing the chattiness down to our kids, maybe.
Yep.
We're just raising little podcasters,
Yep.
maybe.
Yep. Which is awesome because when I was a kid, podcasting wasn't even a thing. So
I
I had
know.
no idea it would be a thing you
And
could
how
do.
long have you had your podcast?
So I started my own podcast in March of 2022. Before
Oh,
then, I had done a podcast with another coach friend that was more of a nutrition based podcast. And we did that for about 6 months. And then I was like, okay, I was realizing I was loving it. I think she was kind of realizing it was sucking her soul. And so and so she was kind of done. And I was like, I want to keep going. So then I kind of ventured out on my own.
wow, that's a long time.
I
And
just in December recorded my 100th episode. So yeah,
wow.
that was fun. How about you? How long have you been podcasting?
Oh, like 2 months.
2 months. Awesome.
Well, I don't know actually. After I had my daughter and she's 3 months. So yeah, probably two
Okay.
months.
I mean, but you're doing it with little kids. That's amazing.
Thanks. Something that I've realized that actually has helped my content creation, and maybe this could help yours too, is that I really love podcasting. And so I've just been taking like the things in my podcast and putting them on my like Instagram as a short form and then being like, oh, and if you want the full episode, here's my full
Yeah.
episode type of thing. And that's actually been really nice because it makes me think less about what I have to create for like Instagram because I'm just like, well, what was something cool me and Annie talked about? And then I'll just put it on my Instagram and then yeah. So that's kind of something I've been doing. Since I like podcasting so much, I'm like, might as well just like
Yeah.
put that on my Instagram too. So
Yeah. Yeah. I usually do that. I take a concept that I'm going to talk about that week, and sometimes I'll break it up into a couple different like carousel posts or whatever. But
mhm.
I don't do video podcasts. I just do the audio. But that would probably be helpful in creating reels, right? Is just to record myself when I'm
I
recording my
know.
podcast.
Oh yeah, I should do that too. We should be doing B-roll right now, Annie.
Right?
Next time we can.
Yeah.
Okay, well, your journal is released. It's going to be released super soon. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited
I'm
about it.
excited. Hopefully it's helpful for other people to help them brain dump at night or set intentions for tomorrow. I think that, like you were saying, you mentioned that for you, I mean, you have a different process that you use to brain dump, and
Mhm.
just using it for creativity. I think that that's been a super cool outlet too. Just because I have my daily debrief, that's my journal that I go to all the time, and then I have another journal that's more of like a whatever different type of journal, brain dump,
Oh yeah.
creativity, and just kind of all over the place. But
No, I have
yeah,
three journals.
yeah,
I have like, and a planner. I have like lots. I
yeah.
do not think there's a limit to how many journals you can have.
I agree.
And I think it's good for, like you said, creativity, right? It's all just in an effort to keep the ideas going, which keeps me feeling like myself.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, awesome. Good way to
yeah,
expand yourself for sure.
definitely. So, I'm excited. I'm excited for you and all the people that get to debrief each day, each night,
Yeah,
and let the creativity flow.
let the creativity flow and find the wins.
Yeah. Which only will like perpetuate more wins in your life, right? How do you feel like that's happened with yours?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things, just like, and I think it's another form of gratitude, right? Seeing the wins, it's another form of
Um,
gratitude. But it's like when you start thinking about everything that you have to be grateful for, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many things to be grateful for. It's the same with wins. Once you start looking for wins, you start seeing wins.
I
So
love that. You're
yeah,
training your brain to look for the good things.
yep,
That's
expect
amazing.
the good.
It's
Yep,
just gonna keep them coming.
yep,
Yay. Okay. Well,
awesome.
I think I'm gonna sign off now. I need
Okay.
like a catchier, better. How do you like outro your podcasts or with
Um,
interview or with guests?
it kind of depends. I don't have like a super fancy extra. I just say like, thanks for listening. Make it a great week. That's usually how how I end
Well,
it.
to
Make it a great
both
week.
Annie and my listeners, thank you for listening. Find us both on Instagram. We'll put it in our details and our descriptions. It's so good to chat with you. That
Yeah,
was really
it's great.
fun.
It was super
That was
fun.
so fun. You helped me a lot. Like all those things that were fresh in my brain, you like gave me a little plan for them. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Good. Yeah. If you ever want to flesh out ideas, like box for me. We can keep talking.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we'll talk later.
Okay. Thanks, Krista.